Peace reflection. I just want to take this time right now and just really face myself. I want to give my life story. Started from the beginning. I noticed that I've had a lot of things just blocking me. I've had a lot of things that I haven't faced. In life, it's like things has happened to me back to back to back to back all my life, and I never really just took the time to just face it or feel it, you know. And that's what happened with a lot of us. We just never face our demons. We never go back in those moments and really feel how we felt, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I want to take this time and do right now. I came into this earthly realm through the portal of my mother on July 8th, 1986. And, my Babylonian mother, she was very young. She was 18 when she had me. And a little after that, she began to get sick. Probably like, I was born in July. She went in the hospital in November of '86 and like never came out. You know what I mean? She was in and out of the hospital for a year, and she transitioned when I was 1 year old. In March of '88, she transitioned. She was only 19 when she transitioned. My father, you know what I'm saying? He never really stepped up to the plate to claim me, you know what I'm saying? So, after my mother died, we was taken in. Me and my brother was taken in by my grandmother, and my auntie on my mother's side. And my earliest memory I can really remember is I was probably about 4 or 5 years old. And I could just always remember just wondering why I didn't have a mother, wondering why I didn't have a father. To go back a little bit, my father and my brothers, my Babylonian brother's father, we had different daddies. They was best friends, and they got killed together. It's sound kind of crazy, but yeah, they was best friends. My Babylonian father and his Babylonian father died were transitioned in December of 1990. So I was about 3 years old, 3 to 4 years old when they transitioned. So just growing up, I could just remember just feeling this void, this emptiness, because I couldn't understand why I didn't have a mother or a father. I didn't understand why everybody else had a mother or father and I didn't. And nobody really explained it to me. I was always told that, your mother's deceased. You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody asks you, your mother's deceased, I didn't even know what deceased meant. So kind of, you know what I mean? I just kind of, I grew up feeling very empty, just a void. And just always wanting to belong to something. I always wanted to belong to a family. I always wanted to belong to someone, just someone to love me with that. And back then I didn't understand what love is. Love is understanding. But back then I just wanted someone to love me with that unconditional love that a mother would give her child. You know what I'm saying? And I never got that. I was a hard-headed child, you know what I'm saying? I got a lot of fire in my child. I was hard-headed. I always asked questions. I always, talked back. But I always felt like the punishment didn't add up to what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? I can remember just getting beat on, being abused. And my brother, he didn't, he submitted. You know what I'm saying? He was very submissive. He followed directions, you know what I'm saying? He was the favorite, so I just never felt connected to my so-called family. And now I see, you know what I'm saying? Now I know why. You know, but back then, just going back to that child in me, you know, just want to let her know that it was all divine. It was meant for me not to have attachments. It was meant for me not to feel a part of a family, because I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have woke up and seen life for what it really was if I was attached to these things. You know what I'm saying? To continue with the story, like I said, I was always just beat on. I was always in some kind of trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like, just with my mouth. I was a fighter, you know what I'm saying? I can remember going to school from like kindergarten to probably second grade. Like, I was doing great. I was principal list, honor roll, student of the month, you know what I mean? I was in talented and gifted programs. They wanted to skip me in kindergarten. They wanted to skip me to the first grade. And my Babylonian aunt wouldn't allow it. She was saying I wasn't mature enough, or blah, 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 whatever it was. Like, she never wanted to, in my opinion, she never wanted me to shine. Like I was always had to be up under her. You know what I'm saying? I never really got the freedom. I never really could express myself. She always made me feel like whatever I said was wrong. Like whatever I did was wrong. And to a kid that I already don't feel a part of, to a kid that I already don't have a mother, don't have a father, don't have no one to really lean on, it was traumatic. It's very traumatic. Because like I said, all I wanted to do was just be a part of something, of someone. And I just feel like the opportunity was taken because she made sure I never felt a part of anything. Going back to school, in kindergarten through second grade, I was, you know what I mean, I was on top of my shit, you know what I'm saying, academically, behavior-wise. And then in second grade, they put me in a talented and gifted program to where we wasn't a part of the regular like class. We was out in trailers in the school, and that's when my behavior started to change. I honestly don't know what it was that clicked in me, but during that time, I don't know, I just started acting out. Like, I just wanted attention. Everybody that was in the talent and the gifted program, it was a couple of us. It was a couple of them that was like bad as shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was bad as shit, but they was smart as shit. And I seen that they got more attention than the good kids. And then also, that was the first time that I had a male teacher, and he was young. Like, Mr. Dawkins was young as hell. You know what I'm saying? And like, I kind of viewed him as a father figure in some twisted way. Like, I can't, it's hard to explain, but back then, I always wanted a father figure. Like, I was very tomboyish. I was very masculine because, to me, that's how you got in with the men. That's how you got in with the dudes. They weren't gonna pay attention to you if you was some little girly girl. So I kind of turned into this masculine person, you know what I mean, playing football, fighting on the boys, hitting the boys, you know what I'm saying? So during that time, I just, like, my behavior just kind of, like, I used to do stupid shit, like just act out for no reason just to get that attention, and it got me the attention. It got me the attention that I wanted. And that just became my pattern. I was always short. I was always small. Back then, I was real small. So I remember kids used to kind of try and pick on me, ask me questions why I didn't have a mother, where my mother at, why my auntie always come up to the school, why my grandma always come up to the school, why I don't have a mother. And back then, I didn't understand why I didn't have a mother either. It was never really broken down to me. I never really understood. I just knew I wanted a mother. I didn't have one. Everybody else had one, so I knew I was kind of different. So with all of that mixed up, I just began to act out and seek attention. And I got the attention that I wanted. I got attention, you know. So I can't say the attention that I wanted, but any attention was better than no attention to me. So that became my pattern, you know, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. And it just started getting worse and worse and just going to another level. The beatings got worse. But at that point, like, I had become numb to it. Like, just imagine a kid, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, just feeling numb, becoming numb to the beatings, the emotional abuse. I can remember always telling my Babylonian aunt that, you know, I love you. Like as a kid, you just always want to hear those words. You know what I'm saying? I love you. And it was never a straight answer. It was never, oh, I love you too. It was always, well, if you love me, you'll do this, this, and this. If you love me, you'll do that, and that. So, you know, it just made me always feel just empty. Very empty. Just thinking back on that, like right now I see a sunny day. Back then, like, if I could just picture it, it was like gray. Like, the sky used to just always be gray. That's how I felt. That's how I felt inside. Like a gray day. And that's when I really started retaining weight on my body. I can remember, like, being like 8, 9, 10 years old and just being heavy. You know what I'm saying? Being heavy inside, and it shows on the outside. It showed on the outside. And I started using my weight as my defense. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really eating a lot. It was just all the heaviness that I had inside. And because of the heaviness that I had inside, I began to I began to bully. I began to just project my weight around. You know what I'm saying? I began to project my weight. Like, you couldn't tell me shit. Like, I'm big, I'm bad. You know what I'm saying? I remember I used to walk, like, with my shoulders out, like, yeah, I'm big, I'm bad. I want somebody to fuck with me. And nobody fucked with me. You know what I'm saying? Before I ever got in a physical fight, it was mostly mental, because I had this weight on me. You know what I'm saying? I was always just big, bad, like, you ain't gonna fuck with me, period. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I kind of got by during those days. Didn't nobody want to fuck with me. Didn't nobody want to be my friend. So during those times, I grew up in the church. You know, we had to be at church every day. Every day. Every day was something at church. And my Babylonian auntie, you know what I'm saying, her being her, we was in the kids choir. So she was over the kids choir. When we was in Sunday school, she was a teacher in Sunday school. It's like, I never got away. I was never able to get away from her at all. You know what I'm saying? At school, she would come. She was a teacher at another school, but she would come on her lunch break to school. You know what I mean? And matter of fact, I can remember one time I got beat. I got beat with a pole. Like, she used to beat me with things that a kid's not supposed to get beat with. Extension cords, like thick plastic poles, you know what I'm saying? Like just cracking my face with this shit. You know what I'm saying? This particular time, I think I didn't clean my room, or my room wasn't cleaned up to her standard. And she beat my ass so bad with this pole. I was whelped up all on my arms. And she fucked around and hit me on my face. So I had this big purple mark on my face. And I remember going to school. I was probably like in the fifth grade. And I was going to school, and everybody, all the kids was like, "What happened to your face? Oh, what happened to your face?" And I could just remember, like, oh, my auntie beat my ass, you know what I mean? I got a whipping. Like, I was proud of my mark, you know what I mean? You couldn't tell me shit. Like, I was proud of my mark. That's just how I was, you know what I mean? It was kind of crazy, but that's how I was. So, the counselor was like my mentor. She kind of took me under her wing. I always had people to take me under their wings because they knew I wasn't stupid. I was just a badass, misled ass kid, and once they knew that I wasn't stupid, like it's one thing if you bad and you stupid. Like, okay, you bad and you stupid, you gonna fuck up in life anyway. You know what I mean? But when you bad and you not stupid, you actually smart. Your test scores is off the goddamn. You know what I mean? Off the goddamn map. You're articulate. You can communicate. You can, you know what I mean? Communicate yourself. And back then, I could kind of communicate myself. That's the only time I could communicate, when I was away from my Babylonian aunt. So, she called me in the office, like last period, and she had a defects worker with her. And, they asked me, like, what happened to your face? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? And I let her know. That was on a Friday. I let her know I got my ass beat. My auntie beat my ass, basically for no reason, and that's what it was. Like, so they sent me home. That Monday, my Babylonian aunt came to school, and my counselor had let her know that, it's a case out, it's a defects case out, because I had this mark on my face. We used to stay right across the street from the school, like literally right across the street from the school. And, my auntie always used to play this Bible roll. Like, she was in the church, you know what I'm saying? This old, spell rod, spoil the child, you know what I'm saying? Throwing the Bible verses out, just making me seem like I'm crazy, like I was wrong, like I deserved that mark on my face and those whips on my arms. Justifying her behavior by making me seem like I'm crazy, when I'm the one that's a kid and got these marks on me. And so she took me across the street. This was during lunch. She took me across the street and beat my ass again because I didn't let her know that my counselor had called defects on me. And took me back across the street and took me back to school, kind of threatened me. And then I remember throwing that period, because when defects is called, it's like a period where they have to come by the house. And I remember, like, doing for a few months after that, like, she used to threaten me. Like, I used to have to pack my bags up. I got in trouble or did something that wasn't up to her standards, she'd pack my bags up, and I would be sitting at the door all night because she said the defects worker coming to get me. So that's like a whole nother fear that you're putting in a child. Like, I'm a child. I'm a kid. I'm innocent. No matter what I did, it wasn't bad enough for me to make me feel like someone who feels like I already didn't belong. You know what I'm saying? To have me stand up all night, sitting by the door with this fear, with this trauma. I've always felt just like, I used to just dream like, damn, I wish my mom would just come and just save me. Like, I wish just someone would just come and save me. Like, you know what I mean? Can remember getting my ass beat, just crying out to my mom, to my Babylonian mother, just like, save me, like, mama, you know what I mean? And no one came. You know what I'm saying? No one came. Even her friends, like my Babylonian aunt friends that she had, like they would see the abuse. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't say anything. Later on in life, I had a couple of them come to me and like, I'm sorry, like, you know what I mean? I seen what happened, but I couldn't really do nothing. So, moving forward, with all this built up in me, you know, I just started getting bigger and bigger, like with my weight. I'm still short. I'm still, like, you can see my hands. I'm supposed to be small. I'm not supposed to be, you know, real big like that. But just with all of this that I had carrying, not being able to express it, not being able to understand it, it just always showed in my body. And I realize that now. So moving forward, I got to the point where I was just tired of the beatings. I was tired of the abuse. I was tired of the mental abuse. I was tired of not feeling like I'm a part of. So I began to run away. I remember the first time I ran away. I was about 12, 13. I was going to this alternative school in Decatur. And I got suspended. And I can't remember what I did. It was something stupid. It was always some stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was always some stupid shit. I will admit, like, I used to do stupid shit just to get attention, just to, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I can't really explain why I used to do stupid shit. It was just to get that attention. And I had did some stupid shit, and the principal had called my Babylonian honors like she suspended. You know what I'm saying? And at this point, mind you, I'm in the special ed. They put me in special ed because of my behavior, not because of my academics, but because of my behavior. They used to have this thing called EBD, emotional behavior disorder, that my Babylonian aunt signed for me to be in because of my behavior. You know what I mean? So at the alternative school, they didn't have a school bus. The only way you could get a school bus is if you're in the special ed program. So she signed me up for the special ed program so I could catch the bus, basically. So once the principal called her and let her know that, you know what I'm saying, that I wouldn't be able to come back for 3 days, you know, he gonna put me on the bus and, you know, I am suspended. I was like, fuck that shit, man. I'm finna run away. You know what I'm saying? And at this point, I was in a program at Bishop Eddie Long church called Project Destiny. And it was for at-risk teens. It was for at-risk kids that was getting in trouble. And, you know what I mean? If you get suspended, you have to go to this program. So I was going to this program. I had a little mentor. Her name was Miss Erica. Her name was Erica also. And I could just remember getting on the school bus, getting on the MARTA bus, going down there like, hey, I got suspended, you know what I'm saying? And I remember her trying to call my aunt, and I just ran, like I bounced. I just dipped out the building and got the fuck on. And I can remember I went to this park. It was just a lot of trees. Like I stayed there all night. And I went to this park. It's a lot of trees. I just fell asleep on the bench, like you know what I mean, just chilling in nature. Fell asleep on the bench. When I woke up, it was probably like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. But that was the freest I ever felt. Like I just felt free just being in that park with the trees, just by myself, just with a clear mind. I wasn't afraid. I just felt free. I felt liberated. So I remember walking up the street. It was in Lithonia. I was walking up the street, and it was like the Lithonia, Conyers, like in that area. So I was walking up the street, and I remember the police stopped me and asked me what I was young. I was like 12, 13 years old. You know what I'm saying? Police stopped me, asked me what I was doing, and all this. And so they ended up taking me down to the juvenile detention intake down on Memorial Drive, and calling my Babylonian aunt to come get me. And yeah, she came and got me, you know, took me home, beat my ass. You know what I mean? Like, beat my ass. Like, at that point, like I said, I was numb to the ass whoopings. It was nothing. Like, I could take an ass whooping. Like, to this day, I still like to kind of wrestle and fight, and, like, I can take a hit. You know what I mean? Like, that's one thing about me. Like, when I get into fighting, like, you can hit me a few times. Like, I could take that shit and just laugh. Like, you know what I mean? Because of the abuse that I endured as a child. just moving forward. After the first time I ran away, that just became a habit. Like I wasn't afraid to run away anymore. She kind of put the fear in me of, you're gonna go to jail. I'm gonna make you go to jail, to juvenile, to this, to that. And I had a little fear at first until I actually got locked up. You know what I'm saying? I got locked up. Probably a little after I ran away the first time. I ran away again, and she just like she had enough. You know what I mean? She let me go to the juvenile detention center, Metro RYDC in Atlanta, Bouldercrest. And that was the start of a whole new era for me. Like, cause when I got there, it's like, oh man, like I was still the shortest. I had a little weight on me. It was a lot of girls in there. This was back in the day when it had first got popping. Like Metro RYDC had first got popping. So it was a lot of kind of old hits. I'm young. I'm like 12, 13. So there's a lot of old hits in there. 15, 16, 17-year-olds. So I had to kind of hold my own, like, and it became an escape for me. That's crazy to say that jail became an escape for me, but it did because the girls that was in there, like they became like family. The officers that was in, I'm still connected to some of the officers to this day. They became a mother. Like they became that. They became what I needed. They became what I always searched for. I felt a part of. I created a bond with the officers. I created a bond with the girls that was in there. And we basically grew up together. Like from 12, 13 to 17, I was in and out of RYDCs, YDCs, placements, crazy houses, Georgia Regional, group homes, foster care. I was in and out of all of that. And it became a habit, like, and I was still searching for that love. I still had that void inside. So when I got to Metro, I had to use my brain. I had to use my mind. Like, okay, it's always a couple of bullies or the big bad ones that's going to kind of run the whole place. So I spotted out those big bad ones, and I didn't even have to put my hands on them. And I just stood up to them, you know what I mean? Like, they was trying to, talk to me all sideways, you know what I mean? I was like, fuck this shit, you know what I mean? I just went crazy on their ass. And I got my respect. From that day on, like, I got my respect, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just went up against the biggest, baddest one that I felt like was running everything and chumped their ass off, you know what I'm saying? And from then on, like, I got my respect. I really didn't have to fight like that. I got in a few fights, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, I'm crazy with my fighting. Like, I take a couple of hits. You know what I mean? Jump up, laugh, jump on shit, hit you with my titty, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing stupid shit, you know what I mean? So, I got my respect there. And that just became like I said, a pattern that became a cycle. I get locked up for a few months, you know what I mean? Go back out in the streets, go back out, you know what I'm saying, to my Babylonian aunt house, you know what I'm saying? And mind you, I forgot to mention this. The whole time I'm staying with my Babylonian grandmother, my Babylonian aunt. And my Babylonian grandmother, she really didn't have a lot of say so. She was more like the provider. She worked all the time. She worked at a factory, Keebler, and she was doing doubles like every day, so we really didn't have a lot of interaction. And my Babylonian aunt, she was like the mother. She was like the stay-at-home mom, you know what I'm saying, took care of the kids, you know. Yeah. And she, when I was about 10, though, it was like a split. Like we stayed in a house, in Decatur, and I could just remember waking up one day and and they was arguing. They was arguing about the rent. And the mortgage hadn't been paid in 6 months, and my Babylonian mother was giving. I mean, my Babylonian grandmother was giving my aunt the money to pay, and I don't know what happened to the money, but it was just like a split. I just know we had to get up and move, and my Babylonian grandmother went, she went one way, and my Babylonian auntie went the other way. But during that whole time, it was like, whatever was going on with my Babylonian grandmother and my aunt, my Babylonian grandmother took it out on me and my brother. We like, I remember being in the same house and my Babylonian grandmother not even speaking to me, not even saying anything, like just coming in from work. And I know she's seen us, but it's like whatever she was going through, she took it out on us. Like, she took it out on me. She was always there, but she wasn't there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like she seen the abuse, she seen everything, and she never really said anything. She was just there, you know what I mean? So moving forward, you know what I mean, I began to get in the habit of getting locked up. I began a whole cycle. At this point, I'm getting this love, I'm getting this affection or so-called love from the guards and the officers at the YDC at the so I just began to go back, keep going back. So during those times it was like, I don't know, it's kind of cloudy. Like,